episode 160 of the podcast. Want to learn more about dog grooming or about training? This week, we're talking about some of the educational opportunities that you might not be aware of. You're listening to the Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast. I'm Chrissy Neumeyer-Smith. I'm a certified professional groomer, a certified behavior consultant for canines, a grooming instructor at Whole Pet Grooming Academy, where I also teach my online program, Master Groomer Behavior Specialist, and I'm the owner of Happy Critters in Nashua, New Hampshire. And this, my friends and colleagues, is the podcast where grooming and training meet. Non-trainers may not realize that there are tons, and I do mean tons, of educational opportunities out there. You don't need to be a dog trainer to take a class or a seminar. Anyone can join in the fun. Now, I'm going to start off by talking about the Certification Council for Professional Dog Trainers, because that's where I have my certifications through. I'm a certified professional dog trainer and a certified behavior consultant for canines through that organization. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning them is that to maintain those credentials, I am required to do approved continuing education. Now, the Certified Professional Dog Trainer certification is 36 hours of continuing ed every 3 years. And the Certified Behavior Consultant for Canines is 36 hours every 5 years. So think about how many trainers and behavior consultants there are out there maintaining their credentials through continuing ed. And that's why there are so many opportunities. And so many of us need these courses. So there are a lot of options, both in person and online. And if you want to look up through that organization, that's ccpdt.org. I will repeat it again, and I'll put it in the blurb for this episode, ccpdt.org, Certification Council for Professional Dog Trainers.org. Now, the reason why I think they're interesting is because all of those continuing ed units have been approved. So it's not just random stuff that you might be learning. And there's a wide variety of topics. Now, keep in mind that that could be obedience, that could be rally, that could be agility, that could be teaching people. There's a wide variety of topics. But I really encourage everyone who is a non-trainer to learn more about training. And why not take advantage of some of these great classes? So that's the Certification Council for Professional Dog Trainers, and one of the many organizations out there, but just one of the ones that I'm most familiar with. Now, there are other dog training organizations. I'm going to list a couple of them here, and you might want to check them out. You might want to consider becoming a member. Think about what kind of opportunities they might have for you. Now, one is the Association of Professional Dog Trainers, the APDT. I am a member of that one, have been kind of off and on. They do a conference every year. Sometimes it's on the East Coast, in the Northeast. The last time I went was in Connecticut, and I believe that was a 2014. But I want you to think about these other organizations as a reference. You can kind of look into these organizations, see if these discussions groups on Facebook are interesting for you. Just find out more. If you are interested in training and if you're interested in the behavior aspect, find out more. Because you know what? We want to encourage it. I think I can speak for all the trainers out there. We'd rather see a much more educated bunch of people out there. More people who know about training, know about nice, humane methods, know about how to help dogs be better for grooming. It's just better for all of us. So, that being said, here's another organization that I am part of, and that's the International Association of Animal Behavior Consultants. Now, there are a lot of different types of animal behavior consultants within that group. There are people who work with horses, there are people who work with birds, with cats, with dogs. So there are a variety of interests there. But anything that they have continuing ed credits for is also going to be a great place for you to just take a class. Learn something. It's a lot of fun. I really do encourage you to find out more because, like I said, the grooming industry and the training industry don't talk together. They really should. I see big gaps on both sides, which is why I do the podcast. I want non-trainers to know more about training. I want non-groomers to know more about grooming. And I say non-trainers and non-groomers because there are a variety of other specialties who are interested in this topic. I know some pet sitters, vet techs, veterinarians, shelter staff, daycare. There are a lot of people who are interested in this topic. So all of you just go ahead and take a look at some of these courses. What can be there? Now, I am going to say here again, I know I've said it before, and if you're new to the podcast, you might not know, but full disclosure, I am far more on the positive reinforcement side than the balanced trainer side. And that I'm guiding you to the kind of information that resonates with me. Now, you might not know what those terms mean. So let me explain those terms. Positive reinforcement trainers generally want to start off with positive reinforcement as a way to help a dog learn how to be good. Balanced trainers are willing to use the positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, and negative punishment, and not vilify any of them. And I respect that, and that's cool. It's where I started. But I say for grooming purposes especially, I try to avoid punishment because, and let me, again, this is just full disclosure on my point of view. The problem is for dogs with the grooming process is that it's either unpleasant, uncomfortable, or scary. And ways that we punish dogs would be unpleasant, uncomfortable, or scary. And more of that doesn't help dogs to feel comfortable with grooming. My goal is to help them feel comfortable with grooming, let them think that grooming is safe. So especially in the grooming context, I'm not going to encourage a punishment mindset. So that being said, it's not because balanced trainers aren't awesome. Some of my best friends are balanced trainers. But the point of view that I have, I'm going to lead you to information that's more about building good behaviors that we do want. So that's my full disclosure. I am definitely more in the positive reinforcement camp. But there are other organizations out there. I'm just not as familiar with what they have available for you right now. Go ahead and take a look. Do not take my word for this. Go and find out what do these other training organizations have for interesting classes. And worst case scenario, you sit through a class that maybe is above your head. That's okay. I sit through classes that are above my head too. Or maybe you find something that is a parallel, like maybe it's an obedience class, but it helps you understand how dogs learn. Maybe it's protection work, but it helps you understand how dogs learn. Maybe it's a sport. Think about the wide variety of information that's out there. Now, here are a couple other sources for you. There's the Fenzi Dog Sports Academy. Now, that's an online academy with a fantastic group of trainers. And usually it's courses that you're signing up for. They start all at the same time. It's an interactive course, but they're online. Wonderful, wonderful way to go. Now there's Raising Canine, and you can either attend webinars live or there are a lot of them that are recorded, and that's some really high quality, interesting topics there. And then I also want to direct you to Dogwise. Dogwise.com, a dog bookstore, but they are in line with positive reinforcement and positive reinforcement techniques. They're pretty fussy about what they carry. I feel comfortable sending you there that they're going to carry stuff that's quality information. Not that other organizations won't, just that I know that they are sourcing for quality. And that's really valuable to me, especially where I don't necessarily know what other groups are promoting. So as non-trainers, you can join in on the fun. You can take a look at the kind of things that we are doing. Oh, actually, there's one more. There's Towser Dog. Towser has online recorded seminars. You can watch seminars. How cool. So I want you to think about if you are interested in behavior. Maybe you're a groomer who's interested more in the behavior side. Maybe you work at a doggy daycare and you do a lot of hands-on kind of health stuff with your dogs, and that's why you're here on the podcast. You want to learn more about behavior. Please join in on some of these opportunities. I think that you will find that most trainers are very interested in having more people get involved with training. We're not trying to keep it a secret. We want more people to know how to teach dogs. If you're enjoying this podcast, please remember to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes, and tell all of your friends. I want the non-groomers out there to know that learning more about grooming can be very beneficial for you in whatever dog career you're in. or as a pet owner. But learning more about the grooming process, especially if you are trying to help dogs be good for the grooming process. Now, I know that when I word it that way, it sounds very, very obvious. But I find that it's really not that obvious. I have so many people who are so convinced that they're helping dogs be better for grooming without ever looking at the way that dogs are groomed, without looking at the process, without looking at the place, the things, the tools, the way things work. And one of the ways that you can easily find out more about that would be to just visit a groomer. Talk to some local groomer. If you are a non groomer, maybe you're a trainer or a doggy daycare, this is a way to get to know another business, to refer back and forth, to help each other out. But also, you can watch how grooming works. You can start to understand what these dogs are expected to do, what these dogs are likely to have to put up with. And also talk to groomers about what difficulties we see. That could be what the dog is having difficulty with, what the owner's having difficulty with, what we are having difficulty with, and find out more because we don't want it to be a secret. Much like I said with the training part, groomers want you to know about grooming. Groomers want owners to know about how to brush. They want trainers to know how to prep puppies. Like they want all of us to be on the same page so that these dogs can come to a grooming shop well prepared and have a good experience. And we can all have dogs that are just going to be good for grooming because really that's the ideal. For as much as there are groomers out there who specialize in behavior issues, which I am one, I like nice behavior issues. I also like once the behavior issue is passed and having this dog who is a joy to groom. Think about that for a minute. How many groomers near you just want dogs who are a joy to groom? Because that's what we want. We really would rather have every dog that walks in be perfectly happy with grooming. Now, from my point of view, I am thrilled to help get them there. I like behavior geekery. I like working on stuff. I like figuring out that puzzle. But not everyone does. And so when groomers get frustrated, sometimes it's because the people who have already worked with that dog or the people who own that dog don't know enough about the grooming process. So I would encourage any of you who are not groomers to meet a groomer. See if they'll let you watch what they do. Now, here are some other suggestions for you. There are tons, I mean tons of dog grooming videos out there. Tons. And while you may be kind of lost in the weeds while we're talking about, symmetry and coat prep and stuff, you can be watching what the dog is doing. What kind of things we're doing on the dog, near the dog, to the dog, and what kind of situations the dogs are in, and get a feel for what these dogs are expected to be able to handle. So any of those dog grooming videos, whether they're things where things are going well or some that are like crazy, because there are some crazy, crazy videos out there, but you can get a feel for what dogs are likely to experience in a grooming setting, and that will help educate you about the grooming process, even if it's just a matter of watching grooming videos and seeing what dogs do and listening to the kind of things that groomers are talking about, because non-groomers don't really understand what the issues are. Now, I say that as someone who's trying to bridge the gap. Trying to bridge the gap. I want more groomers to know about training. I want more trainers to know about grooming. And I want more of the other professions to all join in on this for us all to get together and help dogs be better for this kind of care that they require on a regular basis throughout their whole life. So when we talk about grooming, there are some videos, you can do that. You can look up, there's Barkley. I'll put notes in the show notes, but Barkley, they run a lot of conferences. They also have their own YouTube channel, and you can look up some really high quality videos there. They are well known for educating groomers. I really like Barkley stuff. I've been a speaker for Barkley at a couple of their conferences and hope to do more of that in the future. Their conferences, you can go to conferences. Conferences are so much fun. You don't need an invitation. You can just join in. Just like with the training stuff, take a class. You can go to a grooming conference. It's not like anyone's asking if you're a groomer. Please join us. Please join us. And I'm going to say that for the training stuff, for the grooming stuff. And if you need someone to help egg you on, contact me. I will egg you on. If you want someone to go with you, I will go with you. Just so you know, you have a friendly face with you. I seriously want more of us to learn about both of these because there just aren't enough voices out there of people who know more about both. And the problem is that there are trainers trying to solve problems that aren't really the problems that groomers have or that aren't really the problems that the dogs are having. So if you don't understand the problem, you can't come up with a good solution. And then there are groomers who are trying to solve problems with some really shaky science. Stuff that we did back in the 1900s, it doesn't apply anymore. There's a lot of stuff that I see that's very outdated or mislabeled. Good God, if I could go on and on about the mislabeling. But I want you to think about learning a little bit more. Don't just take my word for it. And don't wait for a grooming class that's going to have behavior stuff or wait for a training class that's going to have grooming stuff. Get in there. Do it on your own. You can do this, and it'll be a benefit for the dogs. So here's another portion to this, is that I want us to also get to know other professionals. Get to know each other. Do you know local trainers in your area? Do you know local groomers in your area? Do you know local doggy daycares in your area? Are you friendly with a local vet in your area? So that we can all kind of get together and help with this stuff. Now, if you are reaching out to others, here's a good place to start. I'm sure people listening to this podcast are probably familiar with Fear Free, but Fear Free started off as veterinary programs to teach veterinarians and their staff how to help dogs be more comfortable for veterinary procedures. There's a Fear-Free grooming program, Fear-Free dog training. I personally have the certifications for Fear-Free groomer and Fear-Free trainer. There's shelter programs, there's stuff for pet owners, and that would be a great resource to look up Fear-Free professionals in your area. You are more likely to be amongst like-minded people and network. So Fear-Free is a great resource. Now, I will say, keep in mind, as someone who took the Fear-Free groomer and the Fear-Free trainer certifications, they're a great start. I really like their programs. They're a great start, but it is something you can do in a weekend. So I think sometimes we put an awful lot of emphasis on things like being fear-free. What it really means to me is that it's someone who is committed to this fear-free idea and to working toward it. So the more we work on this stuff and the more we network, the better we can help these dogs. So, like I said, Fear-Free, that's a great resource for people. Now, another one is to kind of get to know some of the other dog owners. Sometimes just being around dog owners and not letting them know that you're a groomer. Find out what these dog owners are having trouble with. I find that dog groomers tend to think that every problem they see is a grooming problem. And a lot of these dogs have problems outside of grooming. If you were watching dogs interacting in their own home and going crazy when they saw a person at 30 feet, you would instantly think, wow, what would he be like to groom? But that same dog gets dropped off at your shop and you're like, oh, I had a lot of trouble getting this little area done. I'm so sorry. And we often beat ourselves up thinking that we couldn't get the grooming done and the dog has a grooming problem, when the dog has a much larger problem that shows up in grooming also. So things to think about that you can get to know some dog owners. Find out what their issues are. You know, maybe their issue is that they don't really understand why nail trimming should be done on a regular basis. Maybe they don't understand that brushing feels good, dematting is uncomfortable. So when you think about continuing education opportunities for other professionals, here's the thing, you can join in on those. You can join in on those. So look up some of the dog grooming seminars, look up some of the dog grooming webinars, look up the dog grooming conferences, look up the dog training webinars and seminars and conferences and classes, and not just take an owner level dog training class, but find out what dog trainers are saying to each other. If you'd like more information, you can find me at Chrissy@happycritters.net, happycrittersdogtraining.com, or you can join the Facebook group Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast or the Facebook page Creating Great Grooming Dogs. I really look forward to hearing from you. If you're ready to go beyond the podcast, and I hope you do, I've made it really easy for you. If you go to creatinggreatgroomingdogs.com and click on your next step, you'll see all of the options. There's the Scholar Lounge community, there's the Modern Grooming Professional certification, there's Master Canine Stylist and Professional Canine Stylist diploma testings, there's the Behavior Lab for coaching and private one-on-one sessions with me, and of course the Master Groomer Behavior Specialist program. So go to creatinggreatgroomingdogs.com and click on your next step.